What happens when the school's most feared bully picks the wrong girl to mess with? When he shoves her, expecting her to back down, something explosive happens instead. Stay tuned. Crestwood Academy wasn't just a school, it was a kingdom, a place for the rich, the privileged, and, if you asked certain students, the right kind of people. It was a world where last names carried more weight than GPAs, where connections mattered more than character, and where power was measured by who you could intimidate. And at the top of that food chain stood Derek Kane. Derek was everything Crestwood admired: tall, athletic, with a jawline that looked like it had been chiseled by a sculptor. He was the captain of the lacrosse team, the heir to his father's multi-million-dollar tech empire, and the self-appointed king of the school. But Derek had a dark side, a nasty habit of picking on anyone he deemed beneath him. And today, his target was Jasmine Carter. Jasmine wasn't like the other students at Crestwood. She didn't come from money, didn't have a famous last name, and didn't care about fitting in. She was there on a scholarship, and she had one goal: to graduate and get into an Ivy League school. She didn't have time for drama, but drama had a way of finding her. It started like any other day. Jasmine was rushing to her AP Physics class, her mind focused on the quiz she had in 5 minutes. But as she turned the corner, she found her path blocked by Derek and his entourage. They were leaning against the lockers, smirking like they owned the place, because, in their minds, they did. "Well, well," Derek drawled, his voice dripping with mockery. "Look who's lost. You sure you're in the right place, Jasmine? This isn't the public school down the street." A few students stopped to watch. Others slowed down, pretending not to notice but secretly eager to see what would happen. No one said a word. At Crestwood, there was an unspoken rule: if Derek Kane was picking on someone, you stayed out of it. Jasmine tightened her grip on her backpack. She had spent months ignoring Derek's snide comments, months pretending his words didn't sting. But today, something felt different. She exhaled sharply. "Move, Derek. I don't have time for your nonsense today." That was the wrong answer. Derek's smirk widened. "Oh, you think you can talk to me like that?" He stepped closer, towering over her. "You don't belong here, Carter. This school isn't for people like you." Jasmine stumbled, but didn't fall. The meaning behind the shove was clear: a warning, a challenge, a mistake. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Phones came out. This wasn't just bullying anymore. It was a show. Jasmine tilted her head, locking eyes with Derek. "You really don't want to do this," she said, her voice calm. Too calm. Derek scoffed. "Or what? You gonna cry to a teacher? Go ahead, little girl. This ain't your place." Another shove, harder this time. The crowd tensed. Jasmine rolled her shoulders, exhaling slowly. "All right. You asked for it." She dropped her backpack, and before Derek could blink, bam! In one swift move, Jasmine grabbed his arm, twisted her body, and flipped him over her shoulder. Derek hit the floor with a loud thud. The hallway fell silent. For the first time in his life, Derek Kane wasn't on top. He wasn't the king of Crestwood. He was flat on his back, staring up at the ceiling, his pride shattered into 1,000 pieces. Then, chaos. "Oh my God!" someone screamed. Laughter erupted, claps and cheers followed. Jasmine adjusted her backpack and stepped over Derek like he was nothing but a speed bump. "Told you," she said, her voice as casual as ever. The crowd exploded. Phones were out, recording every second. Someone yelled, "World Star!" Derek groaned, rolling onto his side, his face beet red, his hands clenched into fists. This wasn't over. Not even close. By lunchtime, the whole school knew what had happened. Videos of Jasmine flipping Derek had already gone viral. "Did you see that? She destroyed him. I didn't know Jasmine could fight like that. She's a freaking ninja." People who had never spoken to Jasmine before suddenly wanted to sit with her. They wanted to know how she did it, where she learned to fight, if she could teach them. But not everyone was happy. Derek wasn't just humiliated, he was furious. And he wanted revenge. Jasmine should have seen it coming. Maybe if she wasn't busy dodging high fives and answering non-stop questions about her martial arts training, she would have noticed the whispers, the way people looked at her with a mix of admiration and fear, the way Derek and his crew stayed unusually quiet that morning, watching her from a distance. But she didn't. So when she got a text from an unknown number, "Meet me at the old gym after school. No cameras. Let's settle this." She barely hesitated. Of course it was Derek. And of course he wanted a rematch. She wasn't scared. She should have been. The old gym was abandoned, its once polished floors now covered in dust. At 4:15 p.m., it was empty. Or so it seemed. Jasmine stepped inside, her sneakers barely making a sound. The second the door slammed shut behind her, she knew she wasn't alone. "Big mistake coming here, Carter," Derek's voice echoed through the gym. Jasmine turned, and there he was. But he wasn't alone. Behind him stood three guys, Ethan, Lucas, and Marcus, his goons, big, dumb, and loyal to Derek no matter what. "So that's how it's going to be," Jasmine said. 4 against 1. "Wow, you really must be scared of me." Derek's face twitched. "This isn't about being scared," he growled. "It's about respect." Jasmine crossed her arms. "You mean revenge?" "No," Derek smirked. "I mean making sure you never forget your place." Jasmine's stomach twisted. She'd heard that before, from people like him. People who thought they owned places like Crestwood, who thought people like her didn't deserve to be there. She took a deep breath, pushing the anger down. "Stay calm. Stay focused." Derek swung first, a sloppy, wide punch, full of rage, no control. Jasmine dodged effortlessly, twisting to the side. Amateur. Then Ethan lunged. She ducked, sweeping his legs. He collapsed. Lucas came next, trying to grab her from behind. Bad move. She elbowed him hard in the ribs. Crack, and he stumbled back, gasping for air. Marcus hesitated. Big mistake. Jasmine spun, kicking him square in the chest. He flew backward, hitting the floor with a thud. 3 down, 1 left. Derek's face was pure rage now. He rushed at her, throwing wild punches, desperate, sloppy, weak. She dodged every single one. Then, bam! A lightning-fast kick to his gut sent him staggering. Jasmine stepped forward, grabbed his collar, and slammed him into the gym floor. He gasped, stunned. She crouched over him, her voice low, dangerous. "Don't ever touch me again." The gym was silent. Derek groaned, rolling onto his side. His goons were still on the ground, defeated, humiliated. Again. By the next morning, Crestwood Academy had a new queen. No one feared Derek anymore. They feared Jasmine. No one whispered about her behind her back. They whispered about what she would do if you crossed her. And Derek? Well, he learned the hard way. There are some people in this world you just don't mess with. But this wasn't the end. Derek's humiliation had only deepened his hatred. As Jasmine walked through the halls, basking in her newfound respect, she couldn't shake the feeling that something darker was brewing. Derek wasn't the type to let things go. And as the days passed, strange things began to happen. Anonymous threats, vandalism, whispers of a plan to take her down. Jasmine had won the battle, but the war was far from over. After Jasmine's victory over Derek, Crestwood Academy buzzed with her name. She had become a legend overnight, the girl who stood up to the school's most feared bully and won. But legends come with a price. The whispers that once followed Derek now followed her. Some admired her, others feared her, and a few, like Derek and his loyalists, hated her. It started small. A note slipped into her locker. "You think you've won? This is just the beginning." Jasmine crumpled it and tossed it away, but the unease lingered. Then came the vandalism. Her locker defaced with crude graffiti, her textbooks torn and scattered across the hallway. The school administration dismissed it as petty pranks, but Jasmine knew better. Derek wasn't done. He was just biding his time. One afternoon, as she walked to her car, she noticed a group of students watching her from a distance. Among them was Marcus, a quiet, tech-savvy junior who had always flown under the radar. He approached her hesitantly, his voice low. "Jasmine, you need to be careful. Derek's planning something. He's got people everywhere." Jasmine frowned. "What kind of people?" Marcus glanced around before answering. "A group. They call themselves the Shadows. They're loyal to Derek, and they're not just going to let this go." The Shadows. The name sent a chill down her spine. She had heard whispers about them before. Students who did Derek's dirty work, who thrived in the shadows of his power. But now, with Derek humiliated, they were stepping into the light. The next few weeks were a blur of tension and paranoia. Jasmine tried to focus on her classes, but the threats kept coming. Anonymous messages on her phone, strange noises outside her house at night, even a fake social media account spreading rumors about her. Marcus became her unlikely ally, using his tech skills to track the source of the messages and uncover Derek's plans. One night, Marcus called her, his voice urgent. "Jasmine, I found something. Derek's not just after you. He's after your scholarship. He's planning to frame you for cheating on the midterms. If he succeeds, you'll lose everything." Jasmine's heart raced. Her scholarship was her lifeline, the only thing keeping her at Crestwood. She couldn't let Derek take that away. "What do we do?" she asked. Marcus hesitated. "We fight back. But we can't do it alone. We need allies." Jasmine began reaching out to other students, those who had been bullied or marginalized by Derek and his crew. There was Mia, a talented artist who had been mocked for her shyness. Raj, a math prodigy who had been ostracized for his accent. And Elena, a fierce debater who had been sidelined by Derek's influence. Together, they formed a group, united by a common goal: to take down Derek and change Crestwood for good. They called themselves the Resistance. The Resistance worked in secret, gathering evidence of Derek's misdeeds, cheating scandals, blackmail, even illegal activities outside of school. But Derek wasn't idle. He retaliated with everything he had, targeting Jasmine's allies and spreading lies about the group. The battle became a test of wills, with Jasmine's future at Crestwood hanging in the balance. One evening, as Jasmine and Marcus pored over their findings, they stumbled upon something shocking. Derek's father, a powerful businessman, had been funneling money into Crestwood to cover up his son's crimes. The revelation changed everything. This wasn't just about Derek anymore. It was about the system that had enabled him. Jasmine knew what she had to do. With the help of the Resistance, she leaked the evidence to the school newspaper, forcing the administration to confront the truth. But Derek's father fought back, threatening to pull funding from Crestwood unless the administration silenced Jasmine. The final showdown came at a school assembly. Jasmine stood before the entire student body, her voice steady but fierce. "This isn't just about me," she said. "It's about all of us. About standing up to bullies, no matter how powerful they are. about making Crestwood a place where everyone belongs. The room erupted in applause, but Jasmine's eyes were on Derek. He sat in the back, his face a mask of anger and shame. For the first time, she saw him not as a monster, but as a boy, broken, insecure, and desperate to prove himself. In the weeks that followed, Crestwood began to change. Derek was expelled, his father's influence stripped away. The shadows disbanded, their power crumbling without their leader. Jasmine's actions inspired other students to stand up against bullying and injustice. But not everyone was ready to let go of the old ways. Some students resented Jasmine for destroying Derek and disrupting the status quo. A new antagonist emerged, a student named Lucas, who believed Jasmine's methods were too extreme and sought to challenge her authority. Jasmine struggled with the pressure of being a role model while dealing with her own personal challenges, including her family's financial struggles. But through it all, she remained determined. True change, she realized, takes time. And her fight was far from over. Years later, Jasmine returned to Crestwood Academy as a guest speaker. The school had changed, new faces, new traditions, but the same old struggles. She reconnected with old allies and enemies, including Derek, who had taken a different path in life. He approached her after her speech, his demeanor calm but guarded. "You were right," he said quietly. "About everything. I just didn't want to see it." Jasmine nodded. It's never too late to change. As she walked through the halls, she noticed a group of students watching her with the same awe she had once inspired. One of them, a shy girl with a sketch pad, approached her hesitantly. "Jasmine, can I ask you something? How did you do it? How did you stand up to someone like Derek?" Jasmine smiled. "By remembering that I wasn't alone, and neither are you." The girl nodded, her eyes shining with determination. Jasmine knew then that her legacy would live on, not just in the stories they told about her, but in the students who carried her spirit forward. Did you love that? Then hit that subscribe button, more insane stories coming soon.